Good morning, welcome back. I'm just about to pop out, but a lot of people have asked about this calendar, about what it's called. I had it as a gift. I'm not sure where it came from, but it's called Painting Dreams by Wendy Andrew. And there's the pictures for the rest of the year. Very nice, it brightens up the kitchen here. Right, I am going to, despite the rain, I'm on a quick walk, so I'm going to walk up to the allotments. Not sure if you can see this on the camera, but in Wales the rain travels horizontally. I can already see from down here that the allotment shop is closed. So they must have a season now. When I was here 30 years ago, it was open every Sunday and Monday. No, it was open Sunday and Wednesday, and it didn't matter what the weather was. But now they must work in seasons. Beautiful weather today though for being in a greenhouse. So I've just walked up from the allotments, and this might look that I am now on the mountain, which I am, but this used to be a street up until about the 80s. This was an extension of the street that I've just walked up. I remember coming to this street as a child, either in the late 70s or early 80s, and there were only about 3 houses here, but back in its heyday it was a full-blown street. But the reason why they knocked it down was because it didn't have any electric, and I don't think it had gas either, and it was worked out to be cheaper to knock them down and to rehouse the people than it was to put in the services. Looks lovely now, and I would imagine quite a few people wouldn't mind a house up here without the services. There's lots of birds coming out of the hedgerow. And it was up here as a child when I came to visit. I remember one time I wanted to pee, so there was nobody up here, so I don't know how old I was, quite small, so you just dropped your trousers and had a pee. But at the end I forgot to pull my trousers back up, and I started to run off, and I fell, and because there was coal all over the place here, a bit of coal went into my leg, and I still have that bit of coal there today. I've also got a piece in my hand as well, so wherever I go I've got a piece of the valleys. Just listen to those birds. Now it is just part of a walking trail. In the summer I will be bringing you up here so we can walk up to the Relocate mountain and get an ice cream from Mr. Creamy on top. There is a road up there where all the cars go over the mountain, the Relocate mountain, and sometimes they fly off the side as well. I remember there were loads of cars in the 80s that had gone a bit fast and had gone over the side. So you walk up here and there's all these old bits of mining history that are still here. That down there looks like it's a tunnel of sorts. wall there as well, because this is where I think there were 2 coal mines. This is where the Duke of Edinburgh came and went down the mine to visit it, and as he went down he had a hard hat and a stick, and that somehow ended up in my cousin's house. I don't know what happened to it when she died. See, there's even a beauty in the mist. A few weeks ago I started wearing thermals, and to be honest I couldn't do without them now. It's keeping me toasty warm, but I can't stay out for too long because I have a delivery, another one, but this one is a Sunday lunch. You can order a Sunday lunch to come from the local farm and they'll bring it to the house. So nothing better than a invigorating walk on a Sunday morning, knowing that you can go home and the food is cooked. It was also a tradition on Sundays. Look at this, there's a lot of gorse around on these hills. It was also a tradition on Sundays that I'd go to the gardening club. The waterfalls will be full tonight. Yes, we go to the gardening club on a Sunday morning, go up to the stores, go and buy something or just for a chat, and then we'd be back home for 5 to 12 to watch the farming weather for the week ahead. So I don't know if this will do that. Sometimes it's nice just to get out into a barren landscape. Well, that's new. I've never seen that before. Can you see in the middle of the picture? Looks like there's a bull. So the street would carry on going. Can't remember how many houses in total there were. Quite a few, I think. So as you can tell from the topography here, this was also a row of houses, and these were called Fernhill cottages. And this is great, they've got some information here. Look at this here. Hello, my name is Margaret, but you can call me Peggy. I'm so distraught that my house is going to be knocked down because we don't have mains, electric or water. My family worked so hard to live here, and now they're just kicking us out. All the memories, all the moments thrown away. My favourite memory is when the Duke of Edinburgh came to visit the mine in 1955. I was very upset because he went to Caroline Street but not to Fernhill Cottages. But we did have a street party with bunting, so that made up for it. We're all moving to Bryn Henlon, which is a council estate just further down. I wonder what the new houses will be like. So there were 32 houses. There they are. So there were 32 houses built in 1880 for the mine workers and their families. Each had a large garden, and the families would grow their own food. It was very safe up here. No one needed to lock their doors, and children could play freely on the streets. So that's there is a farm there, which is now the site of these pods. There's these pods there where you can go and stay in. Obviously it's good if the weather is perfect. Many years ago, back in the 80s, they built a Western world here where cowboys were walking up and down the streets to celebrate the start of Western world, but I think it literally just lasted about a month. So hopefully you can still hear me because the wind is starting to pick up. So let's walk down Fernhill Cottages. See, people now would pay hundreds of thousands to have a cottage up here with the views. Since the coal mine left, not a lot has gone on here, as you can see. Oops. Not a lot has gone on here. They've tried this Western world thing. There was a talk about making it into an alpine resort with cable cars and ski slopes, and that didn't come off. So there is a history up here of projects that never seem to get off the ground. It is a large site to take on. But look, you can tell now as you walk down here, you see where the gardens were that fed the families, that fed the hearts, that fed the love between each other. In one of my books I have a memory by a Lucy Thomas, who was a midwife. She says stories about coming up here to help a mother give birth, and she said the community was such a close-knit community, nobody went to sleep until they knew that baby had been born and was safe. Another memory is an older man was telling me stories about how you could go into people's houses, the doors were open, you could just walk in. Alright John, how you doing? Talk about the mines, talk about their days, have a moan about the managers down the mine. And he said there was a sense of community here, but when they moved down to what was supposed to be a modern house and a modern way of living, he said you'd go around, you'd go in and see your buddy, and they'd go shh, watching the TV. And he said the art of conversation quickly just went in a matter of a week of people being in these modern houses. And he always felt that it was one step forward but 6 steps back. And he said, I wish I could go back up to Fernhill Cottages and have the community that I had there. Look at the stories that tree could tell. On the left hand side there looks to be a hedgerow. I think the street would have ended by this point, and to be honest I'm not going to go that far because the rain is now lashing it down. I'm looking forward to a Sunday lunch. Great to just stand here and feel the power of the water. I'm just going to look up here. I don't think I'll be able to cross that because some of the stones have washed away, but look at this here. Is it a seat or what is it? Or is it just somewhere to come and put a stone to say that you've been? Just look at the power of the water. So the walk continues over this stream and goes on for about a mile, 2, 3, possibly even 4 miles, all the way across the mountain. You can actually walk over to Pen Peak, which is the mountain I went to a few weeks ago. And you can see falcons and buzzards flying all over the place here, but the rain is starting to get a bit more fiercer now, so I'm going to go home, cup of tea, and that's Sunday lunch. Food tastes so much nicer when somebody else has cooked it and there's no washing up. So I was just on the way home and I've bumped into somebody, but this is amazing. This is a viewer of the channel, and what's the most the interesting part you just said to me? You used to live in that street.
My grandparents, my mother, they were all born there, and I spent all my childhood there.
And the board is wrong, you said?
The board, the information on the board is incorrect. There were 61 houses in all.
Right.
And because my grandparents lived at 33, and according to that, 33 doesn't exist.
And was it they were just pulled down because they couldn't get the supplies?
They didn't have the infrastructure like we have down further in the valleys, and so it was, you know, the late 60s, early 70s when they were pulling lots of houses down. So they decided to build Bryn Henllan as a replacement for the people that they knew they were going to pull out of there.
And was there somebody that stayed until the very end?
Yeah, Mr. Yandel.
Yeah.
He didn't come down. He'd lost his leg, and he was there with his two grown-up children, Cliff and Joan, and he used to sit out on the windowsill with half a house either side. And he used to tell me, "I'm not going down, only in a box." And then he had his wish.
All right.
He went in a box, and that was about 1982.
Yes, because I was born in 74 and I remember them.
Yeah, I think it was 82. It might have been a little bit later than
because I remember I fell in the street and I've got some coal in my hand from the street.
Well, my mother was born there in the 1920s, and
what was it like to be up here?
Oh, marvellous. Yeah. Brilliant. We
keep your doors open.
Yeah, sliding on the cardboards and...
Yeah.
Alfie.
There's Alfie. I'm starting to prefer this loose leaf tea, and when I think about it, it cost 88p for the smallest bag, and I've had about 8 cups of tea out of it already, so I think loose leaf tea might be the future. Right, as you can see, I'm in the snug and it's evening, and somebody said to me the other day, "You seem a lot more relaxed being in Wales." And I think that's because I am slowly making my way through my list of things. You know, where you have a list and you carry it around, and sometimes you can carry it around for years and years and years. So I'm slowly making my way through that. And the thing I thought I'd turn my hand to is this. Now, I had this many years ago, and I remember saying to somebody, "I can't understand how people can smash their iPads. I've got one, I've had one for years, and I just can't see how people do it." Then the next day, Rusty was in my arms, the iPad was in my other hand, I was talking to one of the neighbours, and the next thing, Rusty saw a mouse, jumped, I tried to grab hold of him to stop him from going after the mouse, and my iPad fell on the floor and smashed. And that was about 7 years ago. So this is a very early iPad. And when I did charge it up, it still worked. So I've often said I would get it fixed, and I haven't got around to it. But I thought, seeing as we've now got the snug, we might do a few little projects. I've got one project coming up, which some people might be into and others might not be. So I'll do that as a video by itself. So if you don't want to watch it, you can just skip it. But I've bought the kit. Now, I don't know what I'm doing. I'll tell you now before we even start. Look at this. This is how planned I am. I've even bought one of these mats where you can put your Stanley knife on, because I want to cut some, that reminds me, I want to do something with the windows. I might do that tomorrow if it's a nice day. Right, so here it is. Like I said, I don't know what I'm doing, so I might just skip through it, show you the highlights. But there is the actual piece. That's the new piece of glass. We'll put that safe next door to Rusty there. And it says it hasn't sent any instructions. It said just go on to YouTube and check out. Anyway, like I said, I haven't used this in years, so if this doesn't work, then I haven't lost anything. I had quite a few good years from it. I'll be impressed if this works. So I've got to the part where that comes off, but I don't think I need to do that. Right, let me have a look at the help video and get back to you. Because I'm not replacing the actual screen which is connected there. I'm replacing the touch screen on top. So now this has to be connected. It's all about having a go. Right, I'm just doing this by instinct now. So it's at this point where the point of no return. I just yanked that off because that is the old circuit for the glass. So somehow now I have to put this glass on and attach that there, and I think I've done it. So now I need to bring this back over so that this panel can be fitted back on top. I have to put this back on. There it is. Right, okay. Alright, so I'll take that off at the very end. Right, I'm going to charge it up and have a nice cup of tea. Oh, I think I've got some of that cowl left. I can finish that off as well. No, didn't work. That's even worse than before. Oh well, I gave it a go and it didn't work. Well, thanks for joining me. It's quite late now. It's been quite an eventful day. That unexpected walk in the rain and meeting up with one of my patrons. Who'd have believed it? If I hadn't filmed it, then it would seem like an unbelievable story. If you want to be a Patreon, I'll put the link in the video description below. You can see videos before they're released and pictures behind the scenes, loads of stuff. Well, that is a classic lesson in life. Give it a go. If it doesn't work, what have I wasted? A few hours, but I've got a video out of it anyway. Right, that's all from me. I'll see you next time. So until then, from me, bye for now.